You're sitting in a meeting. Your eyes start to water. Your jaw stretches open before you realize what's happening. You mouth the word sorry to the room, like you just did something wrong. You didn't. That reflex you've spent your whole life apologizing for is a survival system, and it's one of the oldest ones your body still runs. Comparative biologists trace yawning back roughly 400 million years to the first jawed vertebrates that ever swam Earth's oceans, long before humans, long before brains that could think about yawning at all. And it doesn't stay inside you. The second someone across the room sees your jaw open, it's already jumped bodies. Face to face, no contact required. For decades, the textbook answer was oxygen. Your blood was running low, so your body took one enormous gulp of air to fix it. Simple, clean, taught in classrooms for generations. But research has now proved that is wrong. So what is your body actually doing when you yawn? And why does the person next to you do it 2 seconds later? In 2007, two researchers named Andrew and Gordon Gallup ran a simple experiment. They sat 44 students down and played them videos of other people yawning, and the only thing that changed between the two groups was one instruction: how to breathe. The first group breathed through their mouths, and almost half of them caught a yawn while watching the video. The second group was told to breathe through their nose. Nobody's mouth was held shut. Nothing stopped them from opening their jaws. The videos were identical, but no one in the nose-breathing group caught a single yawn. Change nothing but the route air takes into someone's body, and the reflex stopped. A second experiment in the same paper came at it from a completely different angle. 33 new students watched the same video with a temperature pack held against their forehead, warm, cold, or room temperature. The room temperature group was there as the baseline, a dry towel in a bag. 5 out of 11 caught a yawn, close to the 48% who caught one in the mouth-breathing group from the first experiment. The warm pack came next, soaked in water at 46 degrees and held to the forehead for the whole video. 4 out of 11 caught a yawn, against 5 out of 11 in the room temperature group. In a study this small, the researchers treated those as the same result. Then the cold pack, at 4 degrees. 9% of participants yawned. 1 person out of 11. 2 experiments, 2 different methods, and one thing connecting them. Breathing through your nose cools the blood in the vessels feeding your brain. A cold pack on the forehead does the same thing externally. Between the 22 people in both studies, 1 yawn was recorded amongst them. In every other group, half the room was yawning. Cool the brain and the signal to yawn is blocked. Your brain runs hot, and a yawn is how it cools itself down. Opening your jaw that wide pulls a rush of cool air across the roof of your mouth and sinuses, and it speeds up blood flow through the vessels sitting near the surface of your skull. At this point, the experiment had only ever been tested in a room, so researchers took it outside. They ran the experiment outdoors, on strangers. In Tucson, Arizona, Gallup and a colleague approached 160 pedestrians, showed them pictures of people yawning, and recorded who yawned. Half were tested in winter, half in early summer. Same city, both times. In winter, with the air around 22 degrees, 45% of people caught the yawn. In early summer, at 37 degrees, 24%. Almost half, down to less than a quarter. They also recorded how much sleep people had the night before, how long they'd been outside, and the humidity. When they accounted for all of it, temperature was still the variable that tracked with yawning. At 37 degrees, the air outside has reached body temperature. There's nothing cool left to pull in, so a yawn moves warm air across a warm head and accomplishes nothing. That's one end of it. What nobody had tested was the other direction. If a yawn stops working when it's too hot to help, does it also stop when it's too cold? In 2014, a team led by Jörg Maassen went looking for an answer in Vienna, where winter actually gets cold. 120 pedestrians, same method. In summer, at 19.4 degrees, yawn contagion was common. In winter, at 1.4 degrees, it dropped away. When it's hot enough, there's no cool air to pull in. When it's cold enough, your brain isn't running hot in the first place. So the reflex has a range, and it only triggers within that specific range. A precision system, tuned to one specific job, running inside you right now. But cooling your own brain still doesn't explain the strangest part. Why does watching someone else yawn make you do it too? That's a different question, with a different answer. A yawn is visible. It's one of the few things a body does that announces its own state to everyone watching. Attention dropping. Alertness falling away. In a social animal, that kind of information is contagious. Andrew Gallup wanted to know what's actually happening to the people catching yawns. He had 38 people search images on a screen for hidden snakes. First after watching videos of strangers yawning, then after watching videos of strangers moving their mouths in other ways, but not yawning. After the yawning videos, they found the snakes faster. Their ability to find other objects in the photo remained the same, but watching someone yawn had sharpened their ability to identify danger. That's the group vigilance hypothesis. A yawn spreading through a group isn't spreading fatigue, it's putting everyone on watch. Studies on lions showed a similar pattern. Researchers spent 4 months following 19 wild lions in South Africa, recording every yawn in the pride. A lion who saw another lion yawn was far more likely to yawn within minutes. And once it did, it was 11 times more likely to copy whatever that first lion did next. Standing up, wandering off, lying back down. The lion who caught the yawn followed the one who started it. The yawn pulled two animals into the same behavior. Now, think about a group of early humans sleeping in the open, nobody assigned to keep watch. A yawn catching from person to person around a fire would have carried a message that needed no spoken language. Attention is slipping here. Stay sharp. No decision made, just a reflex holding a group together in the dark. So there are two mechanisms inside one action. One cools a single brain, the other keeps the rest of the group alert. In 2008, a researcher at Birkbeck named Ramiro Jolie Mascheroni tried something nobody had tried before. He wanted to know whether a yawn could cross between species. 29 dogs took part. The owner sat quietly behind the dog. Jolie Mascheroni sat in front of it and spent 5 minutes catching the dog's eye and yawning at it. Wide, loud, exaggerated yawns, about 10 of them per session. 21 of the 29 dogs yawned back. Most of them broke around the fourth yawn. Then he ran the whole experiment again with one change. Same room, same dogs, same eye contact, same 5 minutes. This time he just opened his mouth quietly without yawning. Not one dog yawned. So it wasn't the sight of a mouth opening, it was the yawn itself. Until that point, contagious yawning had only ever been documented inside a single species. Humans caught it from humans. Chimpanzees caught it from chimpanzees. This was the first evidence it could cross a species line from a person to a dog. The explanation the researchers reached for was domestication. Over thousands of years living alongside humans, dogs have been shaped to read us. They follow our gaze. They watch our faces for information, the way we watch each other's. The researchers stopped short of calling it empathy. What they wrote was that dogs may have a rudimentary version of it, and that nobody yet knew the mechanism. And they were right to hedge. A year later, a team led by Haar tried to repeat the experiment and couldn't get the same result. O'Hara and Reeve tried again in 2010 and found only weak evidence. And in 2020, a study in the Proceedings of the Royal Society tested the empathy explanation directly. In humans, you're more likely to catch a yawn from someone you're close to than from a stranger. The researchers looked for that same pattern in dogs, but they found that dogs didn't yawn any more for their own owners than for anyone else. So the species jump happened. Why it happened is still up for debate. But something about that first study kept people looking. If a yawn can be passed from human to dog, it's carrying more than a signal to stay alert. There's one more thing about this reflex, and you've probably already demonstrated it. You don't need to even see someone else yawn for it to become contagious. Robert Provine spent decades on this and found that hearing someone yawn is enough. So is reading the word. So is thinking about it. And once it starts, you don't get to stop it. Provine tested that too. He had people clench their teeth and try to sit through a yawn without opening their jaw. The yawn came anyway. What changed was how it felt afterwards. Participants described those yawns as abnormal and unsatisfying, like something that had started and never finished. Which means that somewhere in the last few minutes, while watching this video, many people have yawned. And you couldn't have stopped it if you'd tried. So the next time you catch a yawn, this is what's happening inside you. A cooling system 400 million years old, doing the job it was built for. A signal that once held a group of your ancestors alert around a fire while they watched the dark. A reflex old enough and strange enough that it crosses into other species. Your body is doing all of that in the 2 seconds it takes your jaw to open, and it's running right now. In meetings, on video calls, in quiet rooms where somebody is about to mouth an apology for it. So the next time you feel your jaw stretch and your eyes start to water, let it happen. You're running a program 400 million years in the making, and it's still working exactly the way it was built to. Did you yawn while watching this video? Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoy going down the rabbit hole and learning how your body works, make sure you're subscribed to Body Science.